So you want to be a web developer. You're probably asking yourself one of the biggest questions out there. What on earth should I actually build? Well, we're going to give you a clear roadmap, one that'll take you from that very first line of code all the way to a full-blown, full-stack application. Let's map out this journey.
Okay, so you've put in the work. You get the difference between a div and a span, you've wrapped your head around JavaScript loops, and CSS isn't a total mystery anymore. But then, you open your code editor, you see that blinking cursor on a blank page, and you just freeze. It is the classic now what moment. And trust me, we've all been there.
The answer, and it sounds almost too simple, is you just have to build projects. That's it. This is how you close that gap between knowing the concepts in your head and actually being a developer. It's about getting your hands dirty and creating a real, tangible path forward. And that's the map we're laying out for you today. All right, first up, Section 1, laying the foundation. Think of this as your boot camp. This is where you're going to forge those core skills and build the muscle memory that, honestly, everything else depends on. Now, what's really important to get about this first stage is that the focus isn't on building the next Facebook. Not at all. The goal is just mastering the fundamentals. We're talking pure HTML for your structure, CSS to make it look good, and what we call vanilla JavaScript. So just plain old JavaScript, no fancy frameworks, to make things actually happen. It's all about getting really, really comfortable with the basics before you start adding layers of complexity. So, what does that look like? Well, here are some of the classics for a reason. A to-do list app, that's going to teach you all about DOM manipulation. You know, how to add and remove things from the page. A simple calculator forces you to get good at handling user input and logic. And a tic-tac-toe game? Oh, that is a perfect way to learn how to manage the state of your app. Each one of these teaches a critical, isolated skill. So look, the real goal here is all about building your confidence. You're proving to yourself, hey, I can actually make something that works. You're mastering the absolute essential building blocks of the web. And let me tell you, that foundation is completely non-skippable. Okay, so once you're feeling solid with the basics, it is time for Section 2, climbing the ladder. This is where we start building on top of that foundation and connecting your skills in ways that start to get really, really powerful. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? You're making a pretty big leap. You're moving from the basics into more advanced JavaScript. You're going to start playing with APIs to pull in data from other websites, maybe even dip your toes into some basic backend stuff, and use local storage to save information right there in the user's browser. So what kind of projects use these skills? Well, think about something like a movie app, where you use an API to pull in real movie posters and ratings. Or a Jiffy clone, doing the same thing but for GIFs. You could build a slick portfolio to show off your work, or even a basic chat app. The point is, these projects feel so much more dynamic, more alive. And that's the big shift right there. You're no longer building things in a little self-contained box. You are now connecting your apps to the huge ecosystem of the internet, pulling in real data and creating much richer, way more interactive experiences. And that brings us to the final ascent. Section 3, reaching the summit. This is it. This is where everything you've learned so far, the foundational stuff, the API integrations, it all comes together to create professional, real-world applications. The big focus here is on full-stack development. Now, that phrase might sound a little intimidating, but all it really means is you're building the entire application. You're building the part the user sees and interacts with, which we call the front end, and you're also building all the behind-the-scenes machinery that makes it run, the back end. So let's just break that down real quick. The front end is everything you see and touch. The buttons, the pictures, the layout. The back end is the brain. It's the server and the logic that makes it all work. The database is the memory. It's where you store things like user profiles or posts. And authentication, that's your security guard, handling logins and making sure only the right people get in. A full-stack app juggles all four of these things. So what can you build with all this power? Well, this is where it gets really fun. You can finally start building clones of the actual complex apps that you probably use every single day. For example, an Instagram clone. I mean, think about it. You'd have to handle image uploads, manage user profiles, and build a dynamic feed. It's a huge challenge. Or what about a Netflix clone? You'd be wrangling a massive media database, dealing with individual user accounts, and maybe even tracking what people watch to give them recommendations. You could even build a WhatsApp clone with real-time live messaging. These kinds of projects are the ultimate test. They force you to use every single skill you've picked up along the way. Which brings us to our final section, your next project. Okay, we've walked the path from the ground floor all the way to the summit. Now let's just put it all together so you can get started. So let's just step back and look at the whole ladder at a glance. It's so clear when you see it like this. You start at the beginner level, just focused on the fundamentals, with something fun like tic-tac-toe. Then you climb to intermediate, you start using APIs to build something dynamic like a movie app. And finally, you reach the advanced level, where you're building full-stack applications, like a complete e-commerce site. And there you have it. You have the roadmap, the journey from that simple little calculator to a massive social media app. It's not a mystery anymore. It's just a series of deliberate, totally achievable steps. The way forward is right in front of you.
So the only question left is, well, it's the most important one. You've got the